Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and today we are reading petty revenge stories that I found on Reddit. These are all going to be from r/petty revenge, and they will be linked down below if you want to read more comments or dive more into them. This is the first time in a while I haven't done something that's on Best of Redditor updates, so it won't have an update, but they all have a conclusion. So you're welcome. You'll know how it ends. I'm Grace Tori, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. This first one is titled, I Took the Screening Material Off of the Window Screens. Long story short, my husband bought a mobile home with his stepmother, and things hit the fan because she ended up being a terrible person. While we have been living in the mobile home, just him and I, we have been making small little upgrades to the house as we were able to because, well, it was ours. One of those upgrades was rescreening all of the window screens with a very expensive, pet-friendly screening material so that my cats didn't destroy the window screens. It took me about 9 hours to do all of the screens. Well, after everything hit the fan, we ended up leaving and signing over our ownership of the trailer, and in the process, I took all of the screening out of the window screens and brought it with me so that I can use it at our new house that we bought. It seems so silly, but it felt so good. It's just my little touch of petty. So I don't exactly know who bought the mobile home, what the tea is there, but this is petty. The one thing I would say is make sure you do it before they do all of the contracts and stuff, because the screens might have been included. I don't know how inspections work, but they may include screens, they may not. I know for us they didn't. I don't know. I just make sure all the red tape is clear. That's the one thing I have to say about this type of petty revenge. Other than that, it doesn't really harm anybody. You spent the money on it, so you might as well take it with you. When I was renting, this is why I never really bought things like that, where it's like you could replace it, but you don't have to, because it's not my house, so I'm not trying to increase the value and decrease my funds. So I love to hear it, love to see it. It kind of reminds me of this one time, like a couple years ago, where my big old German Shepherd behind me, the one that looks like a wolf, Luna, he saw something outside. I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was me. I was outside, but I had the windows open, and he's a big mama's boy, and he didn't like that I was outside without him, so he jumped through the screen and came outside. We did not expect him to do that. It looked like a cartoon thing where the screen was just like perfectly jumped through. Like it looked like he like tore through it. I don't even know how to explain it. But that cracked me up a little bit because I know the pet screen pain, and he's just Luna missed his mom. And I'll always remember that. Window screens, man, they'll get you. So someone did respond, and I guess we're all just going to assume that the mom bought the mobile home, because why else would she have mentioned her? But the top comment says she can go get cheap screens to keep the bugs out. Yours is for a specific need. Enjoy your new home. Which is true. Again, like the only thing where I would be like, maybe not, is if the screens were included in the sale, but I'm guessing you made sure not to. So other than that, that was a lighthearted, fun one to get us started. This next one is titled Live on a Corner, People Don't Stop at Stop Sign. Also, before I jump in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying these types of stories. Some of them get crazy, some of them are a little bit shorter, but I'm trying to do a variety for you guys. So make sure to comment if you can what types of stories you want to hear, as well as, follow, like, join the community. If you are a nosy bystander like myself, you like hearing the tea, don't like being a part of the tea, welcome. We'd love to have you. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that hype button. It is available for the first week that the video is out, and it would mean the world to me. It would show my video to more people so that we can grow, our community can get bigger, and we can all just be nosy bystanders together. If you're liking it so far, if you've been thinking about joining for a while, I would really appreciate it if you just join the community. I recognize this is an incredibly dumb, petty revenge, but anytime I'm turning right from the corner, it's a T intersection towards my house, I full stop at the stop sign, like you're supposed to do, but I get why people do a rolling stop. I then keep my turn signal on because my driveway is less than 30 feet after the stop sign. I always back in because it's a nightmare to get out in the morning otherwise. We lived in a house like this. Our house wasn't on a T, but it was on a main road, and we had to back into our driveway every day, or else we literally could not get out without fear of getting hit. So I'm really interested to see where this goes because I feel the pain. Tonight I'm getting home from the grocery store. Someone is behind me. I know it's about to happen, but I'm doing it anyway. I stop, turn, keep my turn signal on, and since there's nobody in the opposite lane, I swing wide and start to back into my driveway. The person behind me decided not to stop at the stop sign and had to slam on their brakes to avoid hitting me. I back in, their passenger makes eye contact with me and is swearing from their seat at me. I can't hear it, but it's incredibly obvious he's swearing. Dude, it's not my fault you decided not to follow a traffic law that literally would have prevented you from being behind me while I was trying to get into my driveway. Very valid point. When we had to back into our driveway, I hated doing it. I just stopped driving and was like, Josh, you gotta drive every time now. Sorry. Because I'm a people pleaser. I don't like inconveniencing people. There's really no good way to not inconvenience someone when you're backing into your driveway. And we were on the main road into our neighborhood, so people would always literally speed so fast. They would go 50 in a 25. And so they would almost collide, almost take us out every single time. And if there was a car coming on the other side, they obviously couldn't go around us. So they would get so angry and honk their horns when it's we're backing into our driveway, we're in a neighborhood. You guys just need to watch where you're going. There's literally no other way around it. So yeah, I'd take my time. I wouldn't care because you're not doing anything wrong. They're the ones doing something wrong. But the top comment does say playing chicken in reverse, and they're not wrong. Perpin' chicken. And then someone said, no, they're following traffic laws, which, yeah, tomato, tomato. Maybe not, but they're not doing anything wrong. We are going to move on to dog on duty. Just for context, both my parents were clueless in some ways and had allowed inappropriate men in their social circle. My parents were consistently ignorant about what it was like for me and my siblings. Fast forward, and I'm 18 and semi-independent. I had my own car and dog, and I lived away from home, but I visited often. I had this big black and brown dog. Not for protection, but just because I loved animals. She went everywhere with me and was my buddy. She was goofy and loyal, but had a big bark and was part German Shepherd, so could look scary, but she was a sweet-natured dog. We're like peas and carrots, always together. That's literally me and my dogs. Everybody thinks that Luna, the guy behind me, is so scary. He's probably the least scary out of our bunch. He's the least likely to actually do any harm. He, has never bitten. He's good with, 6-month-old babies. He's just a baby. He doesn't know that he's over 100 pounds and terrifying. That's right. But yeah, I totally get it. My Nana was living with my parents at the time. Not the cuddly type of Nana, the mean kid who, legend has it, is why my dad was a bit clueless and messed up. Dad had a friend visiting, a creep in one of those orange toweling sun hats that just gave off a vibe that a teenage girl wouldn't be into. He looks like Benny Hill and not in a good way. So, the second my dad is out of the room, this creep starts commenting on my body and my boobs. You're a big girl, yada yada yada. Before I could think of a reply, Dad came back and the guy switched to talking with my dad. I was upset and humiliated. Interesting he wouldn't say it in front of your dad. He knows it's wrong. He knows it's not appropriate. And those are the little details that I'm okay. You know you're a bad person. Cool, okay. Also, you guys got a little upset when I said someone was a bad person the other day. Just gonna say, when I say, ugh, you're a bad person, I'm meaning, in this context. I'm not saying, just because you do XYZ, you're a bad person. And, all of this is lighthearted. I'm not trying to, come for you or your brand. So, yeah, just don't take anything too deep that I say. This is not meant to be deep. This is meant to be fun. Obviously, there's, deeper topics we cover at times, and the vibe kind of shifts and you can catch it. But for the most part, lighthearted, all jokes. Don't take anything too seriously. We're all friends here. And share your opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's totally fine. I want to hear it as long as we keep it respectful in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. If you're on a platform where you can tell them to me, I would love to hear them. Let's have a yap session. Let's debate what we think about all of these stories. I'm down. It's like a sleepover, but we can do it at any time. Why not? When he'd gone, Nana and Mum were talking about him. What a nice guy he is. He's all right. He's harmless, is what my mom said when I told her what he'd said. Ooh, I hate that. It's giving, oh, it's just the way he is. And you guys know how I feel about that. That is the worst thing you can say. Ugh. I was still fairly young and quite upset by this, probably because I'd just begun to find my voice and I knew she was wrong on many counts, particularly mothering. A few days after, my mom said this man is on his way to visit. I was incandescent with rage, but didn't say anything to Mum. I pulled up a chair outside and sat, thinking about all the things I would say to him. Basically, F off and don't ever come back, and various colorful versions of this. My loyal dog sat beside me quietly and calmly. I sat thinking. My dog quietly sniffed the air. She knows. A car pulls up. An orange sun hat walks up the driveway. My dog sprints towards him in full attack mode, like a guard dog in a movie. She's barking, growling, lunging at him. He runs off, drops his flagon of beer, legs it back to his car, drives off, and never comes back. I never spoke, didn't call the dog back, just waited for her, and went back in the house like nothing had happened. My dog never did this again. And the top comment is, the dog is a far superior judge of character than your parents. Which I agree. My dogs, like, people have to pass the vibe check. If my dogs don't like them, I'm concerned because there's probably a reason, especially with, like, I have German Shepherds, all of them but the blonde guy who runs in here sometimes. He's not a German Shepherd. He's still intelligent. He's an Irish Wolfhound. But the thing about German Shepherds is, one, they're guard dogs. Two, they're incredibly intelligent and they pick up on so many things. Like, they're so observant. And so I'm guessing this is a mixture of two things, which apply to all dogs. But it sounds like she's like a bigger guard dog. You said German Shepherd, right? I think you did. So she's picking up on two things here. One, she's picking up on his vibes. Not good vibes. She's not here for the party. She's not a fan of it. But she's also picking up on your anxiety, and that's kind of what is causing her to take that step forward. Luna does this a lot. Like, if we go to the dog park and there's a dog that makes me anxious, for example, if we ever see a, what are they called? The big scary guys with the ears. They start with a D. I can't remember. What are they called? Oh my gosh, this is gonna bother me. Dog, Doberman. So my puppy, the little girl that's in here sometimes, she was attacked by a Doberman when she was a puppy. So she's not a big fan of them. She doesn't like outwardly attack them or anything. It's just she side eyes them if she sees them. We don't go to the dog park anymore, but we used to, and there was a Doberman that used to go. Luna would just sit by me when this Doberman came, and I didn't ask him to. He didn't attack. He just knew that I was a little uneasy because there was a Doberman in there, and I was like watching Evie and making sure that she's chill. And so he would literally stop playing, which hard for him to do, and would sit with me until the Doberman either left or went to another park or something. And again, like, none of my dogs are aggressive. Nobody fought. He just picked up on the energy that I was like uncomfortable. And so he would literally just sit with me and watch the Doberman just to make sure there was no funny business. But yeah, they pick up on stuff like that. When I'm sad, my dogs are attached to my hip. When it's that time of the month, my dogs are attached to my hip. I'm starting to think they actually are just always attached to my hip, but it's extra during these times. It's really fascinating. My horse does the same thing, but yeah, they pick up on your energy. They also pick up on people's vibes. Great at telling the vibes. Not always. There were a few guys I brought home that Evie was like, this guy's great, and he was, in fact, not great. But other than that, I'm kind of rambling. You get me started in chatting about the dogs, and I'm not going to stop. There's all kinds of fun dog comments, but one that I'm going to read is, how did your parents and Nana react to your dog scaring off the creep? If you don't mind me asking, I can't imagine they react well given their, cluelessness? And OP did respond and say, I didn't tell them. I couldn't have stood another inappropriate reaction from them. I guess they just assumed he changed his mind. I assumed the guy was too much of a wimp to tell Dad that he'd been run off. Dad would have asked him why. 100% that's the case. But let's move right along. House flippers drove a skid loader through my front yard. Several months ago, the house next to me went up for sale and was immediately bought by a house flipper. The very first day the contractors showed up to start painting the brick and put in crappy fake flooring, they dropped a porta potty right on the side of the house next to my house. I came home from a day of work, parked my car right in front of my house in the street like I always do, got out of my car, looked down, and say, what the hell is all this mud? Mud all over the street where they unloaded the skid loader, tire tracks right up the sidewalk, and straight through my GD front lawn, cutting across to where they dropped the damn porta potty. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. First off, lawns are expensive. I'm in the middle of, like, landscaping low key, slowly doing like projects to make my house not look abandoned. And it's a lot. I've spent like $70 this week just in plants, like little flowers, like tiny little guys, to just kind of make it look a little bit better. It's expensive. I can't, like, sod and stuff like that, very expensive. Two, porta potties are quite literally my worst nightmare. My OCD contamination hates to see a porta potty coming. Like, will have a full tantrum. You drop that right in my house. You drop that right next to my house. This is my sanctuary. You get that shit out of here. Literally. So, that's two strikes. Two strikes. Two strikes in my book. Obviously, we all have different experiences. They're clearly not happy about it, but I'm really not happy about it. I completely flew off the handle. Okay, so maybe they're even more unhappy. I yelled at every contractor out there until someone gave me the number of their boss. I was trying to get the owner's number, but the contractor, fine. I called and chewed out both the porta potty company and the contractor. Both argued with me that I was wrong. So I then parked my little Honda right where they unloaded the skid loader to prevent future unloading in front. I also then drove my truck on down to Lowe's and bought a steak and a no trespassing sign. I then put the no trespassing sign right on my property line. So what do we do in this situation? Because like this is low key, like I could see the contractors filming this, and out of context, this could make this person look like a Karen for sure. So is this the right move? What would you guys say? I would have maybe filed a police report just for the damage to the property. Would that make me a Karen? I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would probably call the non-emergency line and file a police report just for the damage to the property, because that's like from the jump inappropriate damage that I'm going to have to fork out money for, and I'm not going to fork out money for because I didn't do it and I shouldn't have to. But then again, maybe I'm the Karen. Am I just the Karen? I don't know. I then left my Civic in that spot for about 1.5 weeks and just drove the truck out of spite. During this time, I had to deal with contractors' trash making its way into my yard daily. Rags, dust masks, all the things. I would overhear them laughing how I have my property lines wrong and that my sign is now in their yard, etc., etc. 1.5 weeks late, when I get in my little Civic, somehow my front windshield is now cracked completely across. It has since been progressing all different directions. Odd how my windshield just magically broke. I am pretty certain the contractors were mad at me for yelling at them and were throwing random bits of crap at it. I can't prove it, so it's a whatever point now. This is why we need a Ring camera, and maybe should pay for the subscription so that we can see when stuff like this happens. I'm also a little extra peeved because my windshield broke last week. I came out of PetSmart. I was getting some bunny food and just enjoying talking to the foster kittens through the glass and looking at all the dog toys, and come out, windshield's cracked. I don't know how it happened. I'm guessing a rock, maybe, from like driving, and then it just didn't spread, so I didn't see it. I don't know. Insurance is, we're working on it. They're hopefully going to replace it like in the next couple of days. But I would be fuming. That is one of those things. Like, now we have damage to your car and damage to your property is in your house. Like, get a Ring camera. That would have been the first thing I would have done. And two, yeah, why? Like, police report, report all of this. My dog just smacked me with the plant on accident. We're fine. It's fine. Several months later, they clear out and the for sale sign comes up. Thank God. It might finally be over. Several months later, they clear out and the for sale sign comes up. Thank God. It might finally be over. I leave the no trespassing sign up anyways. I would too, because now people are coming to look at the house and I would be telling them so quick. I don't have any beef with house flippers. I don't mind it. I would like to get into it. My only beef is if you're going to flip a house, do it right. Don't do things that are cheap and are going to damage the house later on. I know that it's cheap and the whole point is to make money, but you're not contributing anything to society when you do that. You're just kind of being a dick. So don't like that. The other thing is you need to be respectful of all of the people around you, your neighbors and such. Like, obviously you don't live there, but let's have some common human decency. Maybe, perhaps. So that's my only issue with house flippers. The flipping itself is not the problem. Go off. Like, as long as you're being respectful, you're not going to put stuff in there that's going to break in like 6 months and you're screwing someone over. Like, we don't want the landlord renovation. We want like just usable, just like durable. That's it. But yeah, I would 100% make it hard for them to sell the house, because what are they going to do? Like, what can they do? Nothing. What are they gonna do? Spend more money on contractors? No. It's just gonna sit there. And I'm just gonna throw out there, I don't condone any of this behavior. I don't know. I'm just giving my petty thought. If I were to put a petty cap on in a petty world, this is what I would do. But I don't condone this. I keep my side of the street clean. Karma's got it. Don't do illegal things or morally questionable things. Unless you do, but I'm not condoning it. You can do whatever you want outside of me. Okay? Wink, wink. Okay. I leave my no trespassing sign up anyways. Several people come and go looking at the house. All meanwhile, I have a crappy, broken up no trespassing sign flopping in the wind. My ugly Civic with a broken windshield, ugly and multicolored right now, by the way, from a couple hit and run accidents, sitting right there at the edge of my house, facing theirs. Once again, I come home from work one day. My no trespassing sign has been stolen off my property line. That's it. I'm done with this. I call the realtor company. My blood is pumping. I get the receptionist and I realize this is not her fault. This is true. Don't ever take it out on the customer service workers. I've worked in customer service for a while. I'm the one on the other side of the phone and I can't do anything. I'm just a lowly customer service worker. I can pass the information along to the higher ups, but I can't just like wave a magic wand. It takes time. I gotta get responses to emails and approval requests. So please don't scream at me. I'm just the messenger. Whenever you're upset with a customer service worker, I just want you to picture me and remember that we don't have a lot of power. We do what we can, but we don't have a lot of power. So please don't yell at me. I'm just a girl. I get the receptionist and I realize this is not her fault. I try to calm down and keep cool with her, but I'm still a bit angry. I'm stern with her, and I tell her to tell the realtor to get a surveyor out here, mark the lines, bring back my sign, and apologize. And after she is done with that, the contractor can roll up the sod truck, re-sod my side of the yard, and apologize as well. Fair point. I mean, none of that's unreasonable. The receptionist then asked if I wanted the realtor's direct number. I replied, really not a good idea with how angry I am right now. Just relay the message for me. I then hung up. See, that stresses me out because you should have taken the direct number so that you can deal with the realtor directly, because as someone who's been in her shoes, she's just trying to minimize the amount of calls she has to get from you, um, because you're just, like, using her as a punching bag. So next time, you don't have to call the realtor, but I would take down their number just so you can call them directly and leave the poor receptionist out of it. Other than that, we're doing great. No notes. I would do the same. That part is giving a little bit of a Karen, but I get why you're upset. I would be upset too. Couple days later on Sunday, I hop in the truck, go back down to Lowe's, get bright orange paracord and a new no trespassing sign. As I get home, my old no trespassing sign is magically back. Realtor waited until I left to return it. I still proceeded to run my property line with my bright orange paracord and new no trespassing sign. A couple of days later, coincidentally, my Civic gets reported to code enforcement as abandoned. Oh, we had neighbors do this. It was not abandoned. My boyfriend just has like show cars and he had a stance car at the time and he couldn't get it on the driveway because the bump up to the driveway was too big. But he drove it to work every day and he had it sitting in front of our house. And instead of just knocking on our door and being like, hey, we don't like that your car is parked in front of your house because for some reason it bothers us as your neighbors, they called code enforcement. And we told code enforcement, and as long as the car moves like 6 inches or something every day, at least where I live, you're Gucci. So what did we do? We made sure to only move it like 6 inches. When we took it to work, we came back exact same spot, maybe like 6 inches off, and we just, you have to be a little petty sometimes. Well, guess what? It's not abandoned. I called code enforcement. They were actually really cool with me. I explained it was completely legal and that I drove that car to work that day. They removed me from the list right away. Today, I got a note taped to my front door. The contractor is trying to apologize now, several months later, and is offering me $500 if I will just please remove my no trespassing sign so they can sell the house easier. I'm ready to tell them all to go kick rocks. I want this house person, they used an inappropriate word I'm not going to use, sorry, I mean house flipper, to just bleed financially on this house for several months. I won't be calling back for several days, if ever. So $500 for all the damage and like distress they called is crazy. This is something you could definitely go to small claims court over damages. I'm wondering if the homeowner is like refusing to pay the contractor, and so now the contractor has to apologize because they're like, hey, until you get this fixed, like until they stop, we're not moving forward. But I don't know. If that were the case, I feel like the realtor would have maybe apologized. Interesting that just now the contractor is saying that. They're maybe trying to avoid a legal battle because maybe they're thinking like, oh, if this person is willing to go this far, they will probably sue. I don't know. The top comment is $500. I don't need any new sod or compensation for destruction of property. Exactly. Like, that's not enough. Another comment, $500 is not enough, but in small claims court, it would count as an admission that they caused material damage and you could get the correct amount from there. Cool. Cool. See? Big brains, guys. But I really want to know, do you think that they went about that in too much of a Karen way? Like the way that they were like speaking and stuff? Because I know they were angry, but honey catches more flies than vinegar. Is that the term? So I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm on the fence. Definitely petty though. This next one is titled Park in My Loading Bay. Enjoy getting your car off of a stack of pallets. Long, true, and overly detailed. As a teenager, I worked on an island at a grocery store as the store receiver. Technically, I was the night receiver, but I worked 9 to 6 p.m. and was in charge of receiving the most important truck of the day, getting it unloaded, all our garbage and returns and extra pallets, cardboard, etc., loaded and back out the door in time for it to drive halfway around the island and catch the same ferry it had come on before it left. So, time was of the absolute essence. The island is a pretty chill place in the winter, but in the summer, it's a rich man's playground, and we often get people parking in our loading bay, so 30 minutes before the truck comes, I always put out there 3-foot tall cones. One day, a lady in a red convertible decides to push aside one of the cones and parks directly in our loading bay. Oh, we love entitled people. I saw her do it and ran out after her, telling her to move. She refused and went into the store anyhow, claiming, quote unquote, I know Danny, who's the store owner, and he said it was fine. Well, I also knew Danny and knew he didn't say it was fine. But after making repeated announcements and instructing all the cashiers not to let her check out and pay until she moved the car, she came fuming out and moved her car. The next morning, the store owner, Danny, asked me about what happened, and I told him exactly what I had done as the truck was on its way. He told me that it was fine and he would speak to her. Surprise, surprise, she did in fact know Danny, but he hadn't given her permission to park in our dock. He did ask me not to tow her car as she was his neighbor, but did say, since it was a convertible, he didn't see why we couldn't pull her e-brake and push it out of the way. Okay, I'm just gonna say right here, right now, she seems like the type of person who would sue, and regardless if she is or not, I wouldn't chance it. I would never, ever, ever touch a customer's car because she can then turn around and say, oh, that little scratch where the paint's messed up on my car, that's from you guys moving my car. That's from, like, you guys pulling the e-brake. You guys need to pay for that. And unless you can prove, like, I know you guys probably have cameras, but they might not be that detailed. Unless you can prove that you weren't the one who caused it, she can much easier prove that you guys moved it and it could have been caused. And so it becomes a legal issue. So I wouldn't touch the car. That would be a really big reason for why you shouldn't, and Danny shouldn't have said that. Just moving forward, don't touch customers' items, especially if they're acting a little spicy, a little Karen. Which, sure enough, is exactly what we did a week later when she again parked in between my cones, and then facing the loading bay door, where I was giving her a clear look, she flipped me off. I went inside, got a couple other grocery guys, and after releasing the handbrake on her little red convertible, just pushed it straight across the parking lot. It barely gave enough room for our truck to get in, and she was completely blocked in for 30 minutes while I unloaded it. She came into the back of the store as I was unloading trucks, and in order to stop a pallet from hitting her, the loading bay happened to be at a wicked angle, I had to jam my foot under the pallet jack wheels, causing it to jump over my steel toes and land on my foot. I screamed at her to get out of my loading bay, and she was so shocked she actually did. Oh, yeah, no. Imagine the actual entitlement to put your car where you are not supposed to put it. You've been told not to put it. It's not like you didn't know. And then you're like, actually, I'm in a hurry. I need you guys to move your truck that you literally told me was coming. Because I had things to do in my little red convertible. Imagine. Oh, yeah. There would be war in my, yeah, no. And the fact that you injured I'm just thinking about how big those pallet jack wheels are. They're pretty chunky. And obviously they have a lot of weight on them. Oh, that just makes me, I don't like that. Well, the next afternoon, when I came in to get some things I needed to finish reporting, which I could do from home, as my shift manager had already approved a couple days off to heal my foot, Danny didn't know any of this yet, as he had just arrived and immediately asked to speak to me. I had already been to the hospital and filled out my workers' comp forms about the injury. Fortunately, my foot wasn't broken, but was extremely badly bruised. Danny, actually a really decent boss, said he had a complaint from a customer about me screaming and swearing at a customer and wanted to know my side of the story. Ooh, hoo, hoo. I asked if this was the same lady with the red car, and he confirmed it was, which to him confirmed that I had in fact screamed at her. I then asked him if he had seen the security tapes from the docks. There are several cameras. He hadn't, so I told him that until he watched the tapes, I didn't want to say anything. How dumb to assume that none of this is recorded. I will never get that. That's something that entitled people do often. They just tell you things and tell their side of the story and don't consider the fact that there are so many cameras, especially in today's world. You are not getting around cameras. So what you say is immediately going to be proven false. That's something I don't understand. Can we at least use our brain if we're going to be entitled jerks? In front of me, he pulled up the tape. So he saw me on the dock asking the lady not to park there. He saw her flip me off and leave the car anyhow. A few minutes later, he saw me push her car with the grocery clerks, and then he saw it was blocked by our truck. Switching to the inside cameras, he saw how she pushed right past the employee-only doors and barged into the loading bay, and how I had used my own foot to stop her from being smashed by the pallet of milk I was whizzing down the loading bay. I literally saved her life with my foot. You couldn't see my foot or what stopped the pallet jack, but by then I had my shoe and sock off, and Danny only took one look at my bruised foot to understand the cause for my rather loud yelling and what was being shown on screen. Funny how Red Car Lady forgot to mention all the things when she was complaining to him. I 100% believe if she was a smaller woman, this could have ran her over. I've been in a couple warehouses, and they're spooky scary. You gotta pay attention. They are not placed for children or entitled people. They just are not. You will get run over by various things. Danny said if she ever parked in the loading bay again to call a tow truck immediately, regardless of the time of day. He knew full well that I could have had a much more serious injury because of this lady, and even after having an entire pallet of milk on my foot and admittedly screaming at her to get out of the loading bay, I hadn't in fact even swore at her. And if I wanted to, I could have used the injury to get a lot more time off work, costing the business a lot of money. Instead of the 2 days, I really did need to feel like I could walk again. Well, the next week came and went, and sure enough, Friday afternoon, who pulls up and parks not in the loading bay, but in front of the dumpster beside the loading bay, still effectively blocking our truck from making the wide turn to get into the bay. I wonder, is the parking lot on the other side of the store? I don't understand. Usually the loading bay is to the side or separate from the parking lot. So why is she going out of her way to park here to feel special? I don't understand. Usually you wouldn't want to park over there because as a woman, my spidey senses are going off and I don't like going anywhere where there's a big truck that could hide my body, where there's a lot of people, where I could be hidden from the general public, where the space is not near the general public. Just stranger danger seems like a bad idea. So I'm really wondering, where's the parking lot in relation to this? Sure, there are no cones there, but I was done. I didn't even say anything to her as she flipped me off again, like she thinks she won somehow. I called the tow truck, but sadly they were on an accident and couldn't come for an hour. So I grabbed the produce guy and a grocery guy, this time unable to push her car, as she just put the top onto it and rolled the windows up. Oh no. I didn't care. I just took the pallet jack, had the produce guy drag out a few pallets. I put a pallet under her car, and using the pallet jack, lifted and moved her car all the way across the parking lot, and then dropped it onto a stack of 2 more pallets. Okay, remember what I was saying about if there's any damage on the car, whether you did it or not, she could pin it on you? Yeah, other than that, no notes, 10 out of 10. Definitely not legal. I'm not sure I would condone it. But I can see how a couple guys who are fed up, that are teenagers, that are just over it, would do this. I get it. And it is petty, and it is revenge. And it is entertaining. Her tires weren't even on the ground. I just left her like that, and then told the tow truck where her car was when he had time. To her credit, she didn't come into my back and screaming like last time, but the screaming was loud enough that one of the managers called Danny, and he came down to the store, and without even talking to me, just backed me and banned her from the store. I guess she wasn't as good of a friend as she thought. Petty, yes. Rewarding, Yes. Danny actually gave me a 10-cent raise right after that and never told me I did anything wrong. So I guess he even thought she crossed the line. Love to hear it. Top comment, she got a lift, you got a raise. Sounds perfect to me. I feel like there is no petty revenge that is going to top that. So that is our last little story for today. Like I mentioned previously, don't forget to follow, comment, subscribe, like all the things. Don't forget to leave a rating and review if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And yeah, I upload every single Sunday and Wednesday. I do a lot of Reddit stories, mainly Reddit stories, like to do audience stories once we hit 10,000 subscribers. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and share it with your friends. Spread the word, besties, because I really want to hear your story specifically. Like, I want to know. I want to hear the tea. I want to be a part of it, but not be a part of it. Just watch from the sidelines and judge it in like a fun way, not in like a bad way, like in a hee hee ha ha way. I'm gonna go. But that is pretty much it. I love you guys so, so, so much. I see every single one of you, even if you don't realize it. So if you subscribe, follow, I will see it. And I wish that I could like take you out to dinner and take you out tonight on the town, give you like a ride on the Ferris wheel where we can see everything. But unfortunately, I can't. So I'll just have to respond to your comments if you comment them. So let me know if you end up following, subscribing, and I will do that. And we can kiki, and it'll be a good time. But I'll catch you on the flippity flip. I love you guys so, so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.